Okay, hi everybody. Today we have the pleasure to stay here with Amanda. Amanda is a judo athlete from Brazil, and we invited her because I think it's a really interesting story about his current because she's currently working in not working out sorry studying and training in Japan. So I think always is interesting to know more information about how is the Japanese judo and how is the experience for a foreign in Japan. So, hi Amanda, how is it going?
Hello, hello everybody. Uh, should I introduce myself, or would you like to lead the introduction?
Yeah, okay, yes. I would like to share with the audience that Amanda is a Brazilian judo athlete. She started with 6 years old, now is 29. So,
Yeah.
long career as a judo athlete. She was fighting in Brazil for national level, and now she has the chance to come to Japan for training and study. And after that, she's going to explain us how is the her experience around this amazing story. So just to start with some questions, uh, because when did you arrive to Japan and how was the what are you doing exactly? Because yeah, I forgot to say that you are in Tsukuba, yeah, in Tsukuba University, one of the most famous university in Japan, and in a judo team. So when did you arrive and how was the story about?
Okay. The first time I came to Japan was actually 2016, and I stayed here as a exchange student. I was still undergraduate student from University of São Paulo, and then I came and stayed 1 year, and I was only focused on training, so all my classes were in English. I wasn't so concerned about learning Japanese at the time, and it was like an amazing experience because in Japan we have this philosophy of Bunburyodo, so it's possible to be like a high level athlete and also have high quality education, which in some countries is kind of a challenge, I guess. So
Mhm.
I just came back to Brazil and I get my graduation, and then I applied for master, and I arrived here in 2019. But at the time I wasn't doing my master. I was in a state called research student,
Mhm.
and mainly I didn't do anything about research. I just studied Japanese because the entrance examination for master was going to happen in Japanese. So I had like 1 year to get a very good level of Japanese for applying for it. And then this year I started my master from April. So
Mhm. You told me before that the master is in judo education, judo coaching, yeah.
yes,
Mhm. And can you
yeah,
explain us a little bit of
my
how is the program or what is the different subjects that you
oh
have
yeah.
to study there?
Yeah, the master program, I don't know in other universities, but in Tsukuba, especially on the sports and physical education area, it's pretty strong. So there's a lot of people who apply because it's kind of famous. And when you apply, you have like some uh, areas you can go, and mine is coaching. So of course I choose for judo, but
Mm-hmm.
there are like for internal medicine or baseball coaching. There's a lot of types, but the main subjects like uh, psychology and training, we have all the same. But there are some specific subjects that we can apply that's just for judo. So we study judo, kata, and the techniques. So we have a lot of discussion, and we get like some articles related to judo and have like this sharing moment. So it's kind of awesome, I think, because you can have like the whole basis about training, but also at the same time you can like use your own major to get focus on that. So I think it's a very nice program.
Mm-hmm. And do they have more foreign there or just you are alone as a foreign?
Yeah, actually I'm the only non-Asian student, so everybody knows I'm foreigner. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. I think there are more two Chinese and one Korean, but it's not so famous about like receiving people from abroad because the program is in Japanese. So it's kind of hard for people who just want to study for a while, just come and go back. So yeah, I think I'm the only one now that
Yeah. And
doesn't
also
have like the
you told me
stereotype.
that you have a sponsorship there, yeah, in this university.
Yeah, I received a scholarship. It called Maxed. It's like the Japanese government, they select good students who have like good grades and good indications, and they provide like monthly a payment. So it's kind of a salary because I can pay all my bills and I don't need to concern about money. So it's a pretty nice scholarship.
Oh, yeah, that's good. So, and I would like to ask you about how is your normal schedule during the week, because you told before that you can be a high performance athlete and also you can be a student. So, how is your daily life in Tsukuba?
Okay, well, nowadays we are on Natsumi Asumi, that we say that's like summer vacation. So I
Hmm.
have some classes, but not that much. So we have usually two practice of judo, and we have physical training as well, like 3 times a week. Usually the physical training I do by myself. I prefer my planning than the one that they use. But from judo, it's like recently is around 5 to 6 hours of practice, so it's a lot. It's pretty nice.
Hmm.
And when the class starts, usually we have like in the morning we have physical training, and then the afternoon after the class finish we have another judo practice. So usually it's like 2 sections a day. And yeah, we have always training on Saturdays. We almost don't have like and break time. We have like some periods that we can really have like a week for rest, but it's not much more than that.
And which athletes do you have now training in Tsukuba about in the national team? They have some athletes currently in
Yeah, we
the
have
university.
Nagase, that he got the co-championship now in the Olympics. We have Sasaki, that's always also 81 kilo. I Takeshi Sasaki. Well, Aimi, she is from 63. She didn't join the Olympics though, but she's a pretty strong athlete. Actually, we have a lot. If we go like, especially for the junior, we have a lot of athletes that now they're from the Japanese team. So yeah, it's a very nice environment for training, and they have very high level of technique and a lot of
How is
experience.
the level of Tsukuba now compared with the other university in Japan? In Japan, yeah.
Yeah, now it's kind of hard to say because due to Corona, we did like Tsukuba University almost didn't join some competitions, like especially the team competitions where we used to like check the level from the universities. But the last championship, I know the girls team they got first place, but I don't know like if it was all Japan or just Kanto, just the like the area of Tokyo. I'm not
Mhm.
sure now like which was the result, but it's always a very strong university. It always gets very good results as well.
And you also told me that you had the chance to join some competition in Japan before the coronavirus. So how was the experience? Do you know
Yeah,
level was high, much higher than Brazil, or you did you find any differences about the competition level?
yeah. We had like a competition in Yamanashi. It wasn't like a pretty formal one, but it was a competition like before a training camp. And I joined this competition when I just arrived in Japan, and the main thing is the style is totally different. So the things I used to do in Brazil when I used to compete, sometimes they don't work well here, and I needed to change a lot of from my judo style. So I felt this before. I used to have like a strategy for doing my kumite, and in Japan they have very good movimentation, so we didn't work as well as I expected. But after training here for soon, it will become like 2 years that I arrived. Like I can say my judo style channel a lot, not like better or worse than in Brazil, but it's just more suitable to Japanese style, I guess. So it's kind of interesting, like how judo it can change from region to region. And the next one will happen in December. I guess it was supposed to happen in September, but due to Corona, it was postponed. So I hope in December I can join it again so I can check after 2 years how. how good it got or not.
Yeah, and during these 2 years, did you have the chance to fight in Brazil or not? Just join the competition in Japan.
Oh, I didn't come back to Brazil since I arrived to Corona, and not only that, but my life here, it's kind of hard to stop stuffs here and go back to Brazil. And especially because now I think Brazil almost don't have competition
Hmm.
happening. So, but I intend to fight abroad. Like I have some contacts in other countries, so maybe I'm looking for some opportunity. But going back to Brazil is too far, and like you need like at least 1 week to recover from the flight, and 1 week when you come back. So it's kind of not a good idea, I guess.
And also, I would like to ask you, what about your goals as a athlete? Because maybe you want to have the chance to win some fights to or some tournaments there, or also you are just more focused preparing to be a coach in the future, or how is your goals? How are your goals in Japan?
Yeah, like in Japan, I know that even if I have very good results, the chance for like represent Japan are none
Yeah.
because I'm not Japanese. But as I told you before, I am looking for some other contacts from other countries who need like some athletes for fighting for them. So I intend to join these competitions. I don't know yet how it would work. I have a contact in Australia, but like I don't know exactly how it will happen due to Corona, but I still have like my competitive objectives because I'm living this life like just training and studying, training and studying. Now I don't have like a big picture about how it will happen, how can I go abroad, but something that I'm working for. So I hope it works well.
That's good. And yeah, before we are talking about the Brazil, about your experience in Brazil, do you think it's very different how they train in Japan compared with Brazil? About the
Yeah,
training style, or how are the differences?
yeah, like in Brazil, I feel even when you're adult, you still need a lot of how can I say, teaching practice, like how to do stuff. And in Japan, they do that a lot when they are in the school. They train a lot. I've been to some high schools in Japan, and like it's insane how much they train. So that time, I think they polish all their techniques and strategies and everything as well. And then when they join the university, we don't have like a class of how doing stuff. We just like do uchikomi, do some exercise about nagekomi and kumite, and then we go randori. It's like we don't have anybody like to teach you something like how this way you should grip like here or something this way. So I think this is the biggest difference. And in Japan, we have a lot, really a lot of randori. Like the
Mhm.
most part of the training in the practice is just randori. And the good thing is that Japan, they have very good technical level. So I think it's harder to get injured in Japan than in other countries. Sometimes I feel like this difference. Uh,
Yeah, because it's
so
weird. I know that I heard this story before. That I know many people go to Japan, maybe trying to improve the technique, but it's true that their training is more focused on randori. Maybe if they
yeah,
go in the early stage when they are teenagers in the high school, maybe it's good
yeah,
chance to practice. But I think if you are going to the university, maybe yeah, you can improve your technique because if you are doing good randori sessions with good athletes with a really good technical movement, but maybe it's not the best to improve your own technique, or what do you think about?
yes, like I got some feedbacks about like how to do techniques when I start master actually with the students because we had like a
Mm.
class to teach judo. So it was the first time I really like received information from Japanese, like not only friends, sometimes I have some friends, of course, but like in a formal way. But I think the biggest achievement is like when you start to practice a lot, you start to notice you have a lot of insights, but it takes time. So I know a lot of people who came to Japan like for doing some exchange program, and they come here like looking forward to learn quick. And when they come, it's just like the practice too strong and they cannot get what's happening and they cannot improve. So they get frustrated a lot. So they ask me, how do you do? And I say, just practice. And sometimes you start to figure out but it doesn't have like a lead, it depends on you. It's nobody will teach you. You need really to pay attention and be patient. Otherwise, yeah. So I feel this difference too. Like nowadays, I don't miss like some like technical explanations because I have the practice, but it took time for me to start to realize the that.
Yeah, and first, before you are talking about the randori, the long randori session, and also a few months ago I was talking with Kasawasaki that now is in China, and we are talking about how is the training style in Japan, and he explained me about the yeah, they are doing more training sessions a week of randori and also long. So can you explain us how is, for example, in your experience in Tsukuba, how many days a week do you train randori, or you always do long randori, not a long rest, or do it depends on which part of the season you are? Do you change a lot, or how is the typical structure of your randori sessions?
Yeah, actually, we have randori every day, and especially recently. Before we used to have like taiso, that's like the gymnastic before, like to stretch or running. And nowadays they cut this off and they say if you want to do, you should do before training. So
Mhm.
our training is really like we just do the complement, and then we start uchikomi and just go for the randori. When it's closer to competition, like I think the students will fight in maybe 2 weeks. Yeah, they reduce like some renderies. Usually we do like 6 minutes, so there are some days now that they do like 5 minutes and they put more golden scores. They change a little bit, but like the main structure, it's like how much it lasts is the same. Just change some stimuli. It got a little bit shorter, but not that much. It's like 5 minutes. I think in Brazil we usually did like 4 minutes, and that was like the
Mhm.
main thing. But here they do longer, I guess. So,
Yeah,
but they
and
don't change that much before competition. Like,
between randori, do you have a short rest, or do you usually do more motodachi, or what is the how?
well, the rest is around 30 seconds between each
Mm.
set.
Yeah, so
Sometimes they if like it's too long, they have between, I don't know, between 4 or 5, they give a rest of 3 minutes. But between this randoris before the sets, it's like just 30 seconds. Motodachi, we used to do when we have like a when the practice is too full, so they give like the belt, and the motodachi is like you just go for like five for 8 randori in the sequence, and then you change the belt. So it's kind of different from what we used to do in Brazil. In Brazil, we used to do like very quick stimuli, like around 20 seconds to 1 minute. But here they do like just normal randori, usually, yeah, from in Tsukuba. So they
Mhm.
don't change that much.
Yeah, and also about the percentage of the Nawaza or Tachiwaza, or how is the quantity, or maybe you are doing more Tachiwaza Nawaza in the same randori if you have enough space to do that, or how do you work with these aspects?
Okay, like Nawaza, usually we do maybe 40% or 30% from if you compare to Tachiwaza.
Hmm.
Usually we have like sessions only for Nawaza, but like today it was mixed. We start with Nawaza and we had like the uchikomi and short stimuli with some situation like the person goes for serenage and then you need to defend with something. And yeah, but mainly I think I would say like around 40 or 35%. And what else? And in the practice, usually we have space and people usually give like continuation in Nawaza, so we can practice transition well. We have space for that, and the sensei always like give us encouragement to do that. And if you don't do, it's not good, because usually someone will try to choke you or do something. So if you do not react quick, you may lose that fight. So yeah, I think we have like a kind of tradition here to always use tachiwaza and newaza together. So that's one of the reasons maybe Japanese are getting stronger in newaza.
Nawaza, yeah, that's good. And also, I would like to ask because after the London Olympic Games, Japan didn't have a good result, and they started to, at least with the national team, to travel more, to have more, to know more about other different wrestling styles. Wrestling, the sambo, because I think it's good if you want to fight with international level. So yeah, now in the last Olympics, we know that all the Japanese top athletes, they know perfectly how to fight against the Georgian, against the Russian. But in the university, do you feel more, maybe they are doing more traditional judo, or they are also doing more new techniques or Russian techniques, or depends on how do you want to call it?
Yeah, like I cannot say that's a rule, but sometimes I found some girls that are like doing the huggings and some stuff that usually I'm not expecting, because usually they do like a more traditional judo.
Mm,
And I do a lot of, especially since I arrived in Japan, I started to do a lot of uranagi and sutemiwaza.
mm,
But sometimes there are some athletes that are doing this as well. I think most part maybe the men. I
mm.
can see like sometimes they on the practice they are using this resource a lot. So yeah, I think from the first time I came to Japan, 2016 to now, yeah, I feel like the number is increasing of people who are doing like a kind of alternative judo. We
Yeah,
cannot
yeah.
call that, but like in some
Less
way.
traditional, non-Japanese judo, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, I would like to ask you about the human relationship because I heard that Japanese people is more, for example, I'm living in China, and maybe the people is more friendly, like Latino, like Brazilian, Spanish people, but the Japanese, is quite different people. So, do you adapt well to this kind of environment, or how is the human relationships in your university?
Well, the women relationship in the university, I don't think there is like some, well, how can I let me think about it. Uh,
No, or maybe not just in the university, just in the team.
in
Maybe
general,
because
yeah,
you
I
are
think,
foreign, they are not used to have many foreign people there. So
yeah,
I don't know. How is your experience feeling like now in China? I'm feeling that maybe I'm the only foreign in 1,000 people. So sometimes makes, but it's true that in China quickly makes you feel very good because maybe they are very friendly. They always like to talk with you. Maybe in Japan they are more distance between the foreign and them. How do you feel these kind of feelings?
yeah, it depends on, there are some people that are very enthusiastic about foreign people and they want to practice English or something like that. So I have some teammates that just came to me, hey, let me help me to speak English or something like that, and they are very receptive. But I know that there are some other people who like they have a different treatment.
Hmm.
So yeah, we have always the both sides of the coin. I try to focus on the positive way, like the positive things, but I know that sometimes they can have a lot of resistance from foreigners. And actually, from all my friends, like who are foreigners that live in Japan, they are not from judo. They have they feel a lot of resistance from Japanese people to make friendship. But as I'm in judo, I think it's a little bit different because we have
Yeah,
like meet every day, we have like schedule, we are like a team, so it can be a little bit easier. But if you don't belong to a group or something like that, I think
it's important.
it's pretty hard for foreigner to like become close from Japanese people.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, yeah. But okay, also for
Mhm.
you that now you speak Japanese always help because if you don't speak their own language, always is much harder, I think.
Of course, yeah, it opened a lot, like the doors. Like since the first time I came, from now, like I can communicate, not perfectly, but I can transmit some stuff. So it got way better because you can talk. So it's
Mm.
not.
And also, I would like to ask you for how long are you thinking you are going to stay there in Japan? Is it a long
Yeah.
plan or how is your
mm,
idea?
Yeah, the main idea when I came back this time for master was to stay forever, actually, because I intend to go for a PhD and then I intend to work in the university because I really like this schedule of being able to study and practice every day. And
Mhm.
if you work in the university, you can work with the team and you can practice as well. Like we have Okada Sensei here. If he still practice, he's like 50 and something years old, and he's still joining training and he does
Mhm.
everything together. So I think that's a very good vision for my life. So I intend to stay in Japan as much as I can. So
Yeah,
that's one of the biggest motivation to learn the language, because it's not easy. You live in China, you know how
yeah,
hard it can be
yeah,
to
yeah,
get some
I know.
points.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
That's good. Okay, so yeah, it's really interesting. And also, I would like to ask because the last year, no, in 2019, I met you in we talked before, and I met you in Beijing, but I really I forget because I'm really bad about the faces, and sometimes I forget. So yeah, how was your experience in China? Because you told me that you had the opportunity to go there with the preparing the World Championship with the China team during 3 weeks. You told me. So, how was your experience, or which differences did you find against the Japanese style, Chinese style? So, how was it?
well, in China, I felt like China has a very good structure. We have a lot of good professionals working, and like the training place, everything was pretty complete. But sometimes I think, especially in the judo practice, uh, they do the warm up too long. So it was kind of 1 hour doing some physical exercise, and then just after that they go for randori, and I think like the performance can go like lower and lower, and the uh, the chance to get injured also gets bigger. So I thought like maybe this could be like better. And I talked to Milon Sensei about it, and he told me sometimes they practice too hard, but they don't practice on the right way. They should like try to improve to be more efficient. But sometimes they are more only physical. And of course, we know physical can work too. But if you can use all this energy for doing something more efficient, it will be better. So I think that's the only thing actually. Like the other things for me was a pretty nice experience. But maybe if I could give like a perspective about something that could be better, I think would be like reducing the warm up. It's 1 hour of warm up. It's too long. Like just go for randori and try to like focus on um, some technical things sometimes. I don't know, like the system in China, how it works in school, but I don't know if it's the same as in Japan, but maybe like have some like technical advice would be nice. But of course, I went in a period that they were preparing for the World Championships. So maybe that was the way, like the strategy
Yeah.
adopted by that time. So yeah, I'm not sure like how it works in now like other period. So yeah, just 3 weeks. It's hard to say.
Mhm. And as you told before about the conditioning, I know that you are a CrossFit, you like a CrossFit and this kind of stuff. So how is the experience in the conditioning? Because in Japan, because maybe many years ago the Japanese they are more focused on the technique, but now you can watch in the social media or everywhere that the Japanese they are training really hard in the strength and conditioning. So do you have the experience in Tsukuba, or maybe also you know about how is the strength and conditioning in Japan for the judo athletes? Uh, can you explain something about that?
Yes, like usually in university, they focus more on running. They run a lot. Like it's insane how much Japanese people run here. And I think they start to do more like like physical preparation in like using barbells and this kind of stuff when they go to companies, when they just graduate and they start to represent companies. So they have a different support. Their training changes a little bit. Like they don't do as much randonauts as like undergraduate students do. So they are more selective and they start to do better physical preparation. And it was kind of funny fact, but when I was in Yamanashi, that competition, I remember I trained with a friend, and it was before Corona. And after some months, I trained with her again after the whole Corona stuff, like in Japan, calmed down a bit, and she was way stronger. And I was like, "Hey, what happened?" And she was like, I started to do more weight training because I couldn't do so much judo. And like her judo got way better. And I was like, wow. So she just changed a bit. And nowadays she's doing more training. So yeah, I think when they become like after 22 years, they start to focus more on that. But there's something they maybe should start before. Of course, we have in the university some students who are doing that by now, but mostly they just run or do some like.
Mhm. And what about the staff? Because, for example, in China, most of the teams they have like technical coaches, they have strength and conditioning coaches. In Japan, the technical coach just focus on the technique or the randori sessions, or just also prepare the athletes for the conditioning training.
Yeah, I don't feel they really have like like a training physical staff. There are some sensei they just come together, but they don't provide like a plan. It's
Mm.
kind of random training. So if the person has, I don't know, experience or interest, if
Yeah.
the person by themselves they start to search and start to do things. But I don't see like a pattern like they do on running. On running, it's pretty obvious, like the menu, like everybody does together. But when I went for training, it's like kind of everyone can do whatever they want. So sometimes they ask me a lot about some stuff because they don't have like someone to lead them.
Mhm.
And I, as you notice, I really like training and I like CrossFit. So sometimes I try to give like some advice about movement, things
Mhm.
out as well.
And you told before that you are studying the judo coaching in the master. It's like a master, yeah, master's degree or
Yes.
something like that. But this is the, for example, the Japanese coaches they study this kind of, they need this kind of studies to join the university as a coach, or is more focused in research or this job in the university.
Yeah, I don't think they really need that. They need a license, but it's a different system. It's just like I don't know actually how it works, but you need to do an examination and you have like to have at least some done for men and need done for women. I'm not sure like the requisites for being like a sensei for a team, but the judo coaching is like an extra point, I guess. So nowadays, Sasaki and Nochi, that they are both from Japan national team, they are doing because they intend to follow this career.
Mhm.
But I think the master gives like a good feedback in the practical field as well, not only for who wants to go like PhD and stay in the university. So I think it's not like necessary, but well, seems like extra point, a good
Mhm.
experience. So
Mhm. Okay, Amanda. So we know that you are busy. Also, it's late in Japan, so maybe you need to wake up early for next training session. So just
mhm.
say you thank you so much for this interview. I think it's very useful information and interesting for people interested in Japanese judo. So I hope the coronavirus is much better in Japan and also in everywhere. So we can
Yeah,
start with the normal competition, the normal training camps. I hope to see you maybe in China or maybe in Japan if we have the chance to go there. But yeah, first we need to to improve in this situation. Yeah. So thank you, Amanda. Thank you so much for your interview, for your time.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate
Okay.
it.
See you soon.
See
Bye.
you. Bye bye.